Tonight on News 3 New Mexico, are schools back in person? We've got the details.
And is spring here to stay? Find out in my full weather forecast.
And March Madness is officially over, but who came out on top? News 3 New Mexico starts right now.
This is News 3 New Mexico, your local source for news, sports, and first weather.
Good evening and welcome to News 3 New Mexico. I'm Landry Senna. All New Mexico public school districts are expected to be open for in-person learning this week, with the largest district welcoming students back Monday, with some hiccups due to a shortage of bus drivers. Medium-sized districts in Santa Fe, Las Cruces, Las Vegas, and other cities will offer full-time in-person learning starting Tuesday, with some grade levels in some districts staggered later in the week. The state's push to reopen gives the vast majority of parents the option of sending their children back to school after more than a year of struggling with childcare, unmet special needs, at-home internet, and more report cards marked with Fs. Parents who don't feel safe sending students back are allowed to keep them in remote classes this semester. President Joe Biden announced Tuesday that he's bumping up his deadline by 2 weeks for states to make all adults in the U.S. eligible for coronavirus vaccines. The deadline was previously May 1st.
I'm announcing today that we're moving that date up from May 1st to April 19th nationwide. That means by no later than April 19th, in every part of this country, every adult over the age of 18 or older will be eligible to be vaccinated.
Even as he expressed optimism about the pace of vaccinations, he warned Americans that the nation is not yet out of the woods when it comes to the pandemic. New Mexico is in phase 2, which is ahead of schedule. Governor Greg Abbott signed an executive order on Tuesday to ban government-required vaccine passports. This order follows a similar decision from Florida last week. Abbott took to social media and posted a video announcement.
But, as I have said all along, these vaccines are always voluntary and never forced. Government should not require any Texan to show proof of vaccination and reveal private health information just to go about their daily lives. That is why I issued an executive order that prohibits government-mandated vaccine passports in Texas.
Florida Governor Ron DeSantis issued a similar order on Friday, prohibiting government agencies from issuing vaccine passports or other standardized documentation for the purpose of certifying an individual's COVID-19 vaccination status to a third party, according to NBC News. Well, Owen, it seems like this week it's been surprisingly hot, but I guess that's kind of what's expected as we're transitioning into the spring season. Maybe it'll stay, maybe not.
Yeah, it's looking like it's going to be hanging over us here. Let's go ahead and over to the maps. And we are experiencing warmer weathers. We are seeing a lot of 80s this week, as you will see. And with those warmer weathers and these gusting winds that you can see here going up to 40 miles per hour, along with relatively low humidity as we are in drought season, 5 to 10%, we are looking at a fire weather warning here. So I want to put this up top so you guys are aware. It is conditions where a fire could spread very quickly, so do please be careful. Anyway, back to Landry at the desk.
New Mexico State Police say a teenage driver and a 12-year-old girl have died in a head-on crash south of Roswell. They say the crash occurred about 2:30 p.m. Sunday on State Highway 2. State police say their initial investigation indicated an SUV driven by a 33-year-old Roswell man attempted to pass another vehicle and collided with a passenger's car. They say the car caught fire and the 17-year-old female driver and her 12-year-old passenger were pronounced dead at the scene. State police say alcohol and/or drugs have appeared to be a factor in the crash, and charges may be given for the SUV driver. A measure signed into law Monday by Governor Michelle Lujan Grisham modernizes New Mexico's child support law, bringing the state into compliance with federal regulations and national best practices. State officials say the changes will keep New Mexico from losing out on more than $147 million in federal money. The law updates the Child Support Guidelines statute to align with federal rules that are based on the combined parent's actual income and the non-custodial parent's ability to pay. It also allows the state to focus on providing employment opportunities and job security to help non-custodial parents meet their obligations. Governor Lujan Grisham also signed House Bill 128, the legislation protecting students in New Mexico from sexual and ethical misconduct by teachers and school employees. House Bill 128 enacts an extensive set of both preventative and responsive measures to address ethical and sexual misconduct in New Mexico's public schools. Under House Bill 128, abusers who have been employed in the public school system will no longer be able to conceal their misconduct by leaving one job and beginning another. House Bill 128 is based on recommendations from the PED Task Force on School Ethical Misconduct, required by a measure passed in the 2019 session. Under the legislation, allegations found to be false or unsubstantiated are not required to be disclosed. And another law signed into legislation by Governor Lujan Grisham that prohibits discrimination based on traditional hairstyles and head coverings. It's known nationally as the Crown Act and was conceived as a measure to protect African Americans from discrimination based on natural or traditional hairstyles. In New Mexico, it won support from a broader coalition including Native American and religious advocates. Traditional hairstyles and religious coverings under the new law cannot be prohibited in work or school dress codes or used as an excuse to turn someone down for a job. Stay tuned for weather with Owen after the break, but first, here's a look at today's financial market.
Welcome back, folks. I want to go over the current temperatures here with you, as I thought that was most relevant here. Looking over on the northern portion of the state here, spring is coming in a little slow. We have 65 in Farmington, 67 in Raton, and 69 in Gallup, with 70s across the central mountains here. But down here in the eastern plains, we're starting to really feel that temperature increase. 73 in Clovis, 74 in Portales, and Roswell, wow, 84. It's like a little preview to summer there. But for tonight's lows here, we have up in the northern portion here, 30s, 34 in Raton, 39 in Farmington, 31 in Gallup, 37 and 47 in Santa Fe and Albuquerque respectively. And looking over here where we are occupying, it's 46 in Clovis, 48 in Portales, and 59 in Roswell. It's definitely better than the nights we were getting in winter, my goodness. For tomorrow's highs, we can see that things are going to crank up, even up there in the north there, 74 in Farmington, 72 in Raton, 73 in Gallup, 75 in Santa Fe, and 78 in Albuquerque. And we're getting up to the 80s over here in our corner, with 81 in Clovis, 83 in Portales, and just nearly to 90 down there in Roswell. So let's go ahead and move into the 7-day forecast here. We can see that in Carlsbad, you folks are going to have a windy Thursday there with 90s. And then throughout the week, you're going to be seeing sunshine, except for maybe on Sunday, Tuesday, and Wednesday there. But it's going to be warm on average. Tucumcari, you're going to have more cloud coverage, but you're also going to be staying from the 83 to about, what's your low there? 2 on Wednesday. In Roswell, pretty consistently warm there. 89 on Thursday, 86 on Friday, and then going down to about 75 by Wednesday with quite a bit of cloud coverage. And finally, in Portales, pretty average overall, 83 tomorrow with it staying around the 70 to 81 range from Friday to Monday. And then it's going to cool down seemingly next week, 64 on Tuesday and 61 on Wednesday. So maybe spring's going to peter out a little bit here next week.
Well, Owen, definitely, I have to agree. I hope it does. It was a beautiful Easter weekend, and maybe that's, the kickoff to a nice spring season. Now all we can hope for due to drought is some rain.
Yes,
for
really.
sure. Hopefully we can get out of this dry season, but we'll see. Who knows? That's all the weather we have for you today. We actually will be back after our fourth break, but we'll be back after the break. Clovis's Dragon Mane's car show is happening this year. The announcement was made in a Facebook video earlier today. Last year, the music festival and car show was canceled due to the pandemic. This year, the car show will take place, but the music festival has been canceled once again. The Facebook post boasts a ton of surprises, including a regional picnic with Harvey Owners Group. The event will take place June 13th through the 19th, and they will be keeping the community updated on their Facebook page, Clovis Dragon Mane Music Festival. Clovis Airport reached a new milestone Sunday night, welcoming in the first passengers aboard Denver Air Connection's 50-passenger regional jet. The new jet is one of the many exciting updates happening at the Clovis Regional Airport, remarked Airport Director James Harris. We aim to further serve Clovis area residents by making travel to and from Clovis convenient and accessible. The City of Clovis stated more updates are to come from the Clovis Regional Airport, including a TSA security checkpoint that will allow passengers to undergo screening in Clovis instead of in Denver. TSA is expected to begin operations in June of 2021. For more information, you can contact Airport Director James Harris at 575-769-7890. U.S. Senator Martin Heinrich issued the following statement commending Governor Michelle Lujan Grisham for signing House Bill 200 into law. The New Mexico legislature passed the new law during the recent legislative session. I commend Governor Lujan Grisham, Senators Mimi Stewart and Sia Correa Hemphill, Representatives Matthew McQueen and Nathan Small, and all of the community leaders in southwestern New Mexico who came together to say enough is enough. He says these projects can go towards things such as a new water tank and well for the Quamato Lake Water Association in Crotron County, or new and improved infrastructure to connect the communities of Silver City, Santa Clara, Bayard, and Hurley through the Grant County Regional Water Supply Project. Heinrich says that he is pleased we can now embark on a more ecologically sensible and fiscally responsible path forward. According to the Hobbs News-Sun, the Salvation Army of Hobbs conducted a project that is a mobile hygiene trailer that will serve showers and more to the homeless community in Hobbs. The trailer, part of the Salvation Army Emergency Disaster Services Division, features 6 self-contained shower stalls. Beginning next month, people will be able to sign up and get cleaned up and more. The Salvation Army is teaming up with United Way of Lee County for a Day of Caring event from 9 a.m. to noon on Saturday. They're asking members of the community to volunteer some of their time to paint and put together finishing touches on the area housing the trailer. The hygiene station will also offer access to a washer-dryer setup, to wash clothes, and a waiting area, all in a safe and secure facility. The services will be free of charge to users. Conservationists are advocating for larger strongholds for the lesser prairie chicken in eastern New Mexico. The lesser prairie chickens are on a decline population due to infrastructure and drought. Adam Rigsby, president of Riverbank Conservation, talks about the conservation plan.
The first step in our conservation plan here is to provide the chickens some place that they can go in big numbers and be safe. So that's first, and we call it a stronghold. You could think of it like a home base. And then as conditions get better, they can use that stronghold to then expand out and, broaden their territory, which is where restoration comes in for us. We are not against energy development in the Southern Great Plains. Yeah. We recognize that is a very necessary thing for America to have a thriving economy. We are for sustainable development of those resources so that, it's less extractive and it's more supportive. And we believe that there are several ways to go about that. This HCP for the lesser prairie chicken is one of those ways.
On May 26th, the Fish and Wildlife Service will decide if the lesser prairie chicken will be placed on the endangered species list. There's a shortage of one of America's favorite condiments, ketchup. Restaurants have relied heavily on takeout orders to survive during COVID-19. That caused a need for more ketchup packets. But once those started running low, some eateries began pouring out bulk ketchup into individual cups. The Wall Street Journal reports that low inventory of ketchup is hitting mom-and-pop restaurants, as well as chains like Texas Roadhouse and Long John Silver's. According to restaurant business platform Plate IQ, the ketchup shortage has caused packet prices to rise 13% since January 2020. But there is some good news. USA Today reports that America's most popular brand, Heinz, is working to increase its supplies in order to produce 12 billion packets a year. As always, there's a lot going on in the sports world, so make sure you stay tuned and you'll be back with Kiki after the break.
Welcome back to News 3 New Mexico. I'm Kitana Sapinga, here to bring you all the latest in local and national sports. Texas Tech wasted no time in hiring a new head coach for men's basketball, and they didn't even have to look far. Mark Adams is a Tech alum and West Texas native. It seems like the perfect fit, as Adams was an assistant coach the past 5 seasons under Chris Beard. Adams says being the head coach at his alma mater is his dream job. He also said, "I love the game of basketball, but I also love West Texas and I love Texas Tech. This is home and I get to stay home." This announcement was memorable as Adams was brought out in front of a live crowd inside the Red Raider basketball arena. His 90-year-old mother was in attendance, as well as football coach Matt Wells and other coaches. Best of luck to Adams and the Red Raiders next season. Staying on the topic of college basketball, it's no secret who came out on top in this year's NCAA National Championship. Baylor ended Gonzaga's perfect season record in the NCAA 2021 March Madness Championship. The Bears were unstoppable. They hit all their shots, their offense and defense were working together, and their team chemistry was like magic. This was Baylor's first national championship for the program. Jared Butler led his team with 22 points and 7 assists against the Bulldogs. He was named the most outstanding player, rightfully so. Despite there being no fans at the game, Baylor students were watching faithfully from Waco, Texas. It was almost like they were sitting courtside. Congratulations to the Bears, and hats off to Gonzaga as well for playing a great tournament and for putting on a show for us basketball fans. Also, congrats to the Stanford women who won their side of the tournament. Moving on to some local sports, I feel like track and field is one of those sports that's often left out of the mix. I'd even say our track and field team is underrated because based on their performance last weekend at the West Texas A&M Joe Meeker Classic, they definitely proved themselves. Senior distance runner Mercy Rodich finished in first place in the women's 5,000-meter run. Portales native Jessica Campbell finished second place in the heptathlon with an overall score of 4,657. She was first in javelin throw and tied for first in high jump. Her score of 4,657 qualified her for the NCAA Outdoor Track and Field Championships that are going to be held at Grand Valley State later this spring. She also broke her own previous program record from the 2019 LSC Outdoor Championship. Way to go, Jessie. The women's 4x4 relay team finished in fourth place with a time of 4:05.65, with Neri Gatrade, Carolyn Bashman, Lathabo Sema, and M. Sema. Sophomore hound Tamia Smith finished 8th in shot put and 13th in discus. In the men's 5,000-meter run, Kelvin Kipkembo finished 4th, and Toby Kirk came in 5th place in the men's 3,000-meter run. This team is not talked about enough. Great job, hounds, and good luck this weekend at the Texas Tech Masked Rider Open. While track and field were in West Texas, our baseball team traveled to San Antonio and competed in a 3-game series against the St. Mary Rattlers. In Friday's doubleheader, our Hounds were unsuccessful, but on Saturday they finished out with a 9-5 victory over St. Mary's. The Rattlers started off with a 5-0 lead, but by the time they got to the top of the seventh, our Hounds were on the board. We saw 3 runs on 3 hits and an error with doubles from Kian Johnson and Trevor Moses. At the top of the ninth, Eastern put up 6 runs with an RBI double from Jack Thompson. Rio Granger and Moses were credited with sending runners home off of singles. The Hounds were able to hold off the Rattlers to secure the 9-5 win. Dalton Thatcher started on the mound and had 3 strikeouts in 5 innings. Damian Acosta found time on the mound and earned the win with 5 strikeouts, 2 hits, and 1 run allowed in 3.2 innings. The Hounds' next 3-game series is this weekend against Lubbock Christian. That is all the sports I have for you tonight. Make sure to stay tuned and you'll be back at the desk with Landry after this break.
Well, Owen, it seems like we don't really know what to expect after the spring season. So what can you say for us? Is it going to be rainy or windy, or what do you have for us?
That's the thing that we always expect with New Mexico, is that it's going to pull the rug out from underneath us. I understand why you want to look forward here. Let's go ahead and check my 7-day forecast just one last time, if we could go over the maps. So it doesn't seem that we can worry about any sort of precipitation, any rain. We can't expect it to get cold after the weekend. You see there Tuesday and Wednesday, we go to 64 and 61. Pretty manageable, but folks, we have a nice week here. 83, 81, 76, and 83. It's going to be a good time to maybe go out, do some bicycling. I don't know, get a suntan maybe. Who knows?
Perfect. Well, thank you, Owen, and that is all the news and weather that we have for you tonight. Thank you for watching. Have a great evening.